Hello, welcome. This is Jonita D'Souza, your feminine lifestylist. Welcome to today's class. It's going to be very juicy, very informative, and I am feeling a bit nervous, I should say. I am definitely feeling a bit nervous about this practice in particular. The reason being, I have been. So, let's begin one more time. The only reason, let's do it. Let me just send invites to a few sisters here. All right, so welcome. This is Jonita D'Souza, your feminine lifestylist. And if you are going to be joining in during the live session or watching this replay, I would love to connect with you. I know a lot of new members have joined in the group since the last 24 hours or so. Probably you must have seen my post about the Jade-Egg and the yoni thing. And so I would really love for you to drop in and say hello and hi and where are you joining in from. If you are already a member of Exploring Femininity Sisterhood, then you know that our sessions are usually very interactive and we like to keep it that way, and so that we can feel the energy of everybody present and then experience the class together. You know, it's really like casting a virtual circle, and that makes me feel good too. It makes me feel that I'm not talking to myself. And the reason I should share that I'm feeling a bit nervous is because few reasons. First of all, in the last year when I shared about this Jade-Egg and the process and things like that, I was banned from Facebook twice last year. Once for talking about menstruation and another for talking about Jade-Eggs. I was banned for a week from Facebook. So so I have to watch what I say and do as well. And I have known it from many of my teachers who have been teaching this, that they have also experienced something similar. So it's just not me. Also, since my post in the last couple of days about yoni yoga and Jade-Egg, as well as the connection of yoni with the with our throat and things like that, have invoked a lot of discussion in my official Facebook page. If you see that. And I had to remove a lot of comments, and I also received a lot of nasty comments and threats as well from some men and also a couple of women. So it's been stirring. It's been stirring up here, but I'm really still excited and curious to still share about it, because I feel that this information is important and it needs to be shared. I can see a couple of people are watching, so if you don't mind dropping in and saying hello, who you are, so I can also say hello to you. Yeah, so is Nadia there? Welcome, Nadia. So yeah, that said, so far the Jade-Egg process, I've been doing Jade-Egg initiations with my private clients. That is in person. Hi, Nadia. Lovely to see you. Joining. So yeah, so I've been doing Jade-Egg initiation with my private clients in person. I have done it via Skype as well, but I have never spoken about it publicly. And yeah, so it's quite interesting. I'm looking forward to it. So if you are joining, if you're getting started and to this conversation right now, I would really like to hear from you. If you are Jade-Egg virgin, I would really like to gauge where you are, and I'm curious to find out if let's say if you are already using the Jade-Egg or not, or you are new to this concept and you're curious and you would like to explore more. Or the third category could be that you are really scared of this, and you know, some people are put off by this practice as well, I must say. So I'm really curious to hear from you which among these three categories you could place yourself. Either you are using it already and liking it and seeing the benefits, or you're curious about it, you are a Jade-Egg virgin yet, and are interested in how to go about it, or you are scared and kind of put off by it. So drop in the comments and let me know what you feel. Nadia is saying, I'm new to this and curious. Yes, great that you're curious. That's a great step ahead to begin with, curiosity. So I'm going to be using the terminology yoni, just for those of you who do not know. Yoni is the Sanskrit word for vagina. Um, and in Sanskrit, this word refers to sacred gateway, a sacred temple. So that's what the significance of yoni holds in the spiritual realms. And I'm going to be using that the terminology yoni and vagina interchangeably. So for those of you who don't know this, I need to drink some water. So what is this Jade-Egg practice? I can see a few sisters joining in. Drop in. We're just starting. So drop in, say hi, hello, and join the conversation. Let us know where you're joining from as well. So what is this Jade-Egg initiation, or what is this Jade-Egg practice to begin with? Now, this Jade-Egg practice is a Taoist practice that began several years ago, few thousand years ago in ancient China. And this practice was available only to the royals, pretty much only to the queens of the royal family, so that she could cultivate her sexual energy in order to fully step into her feminine power. And through that also reclaim her beauty, longevity, and vitality. So this is the reason this practice was initiated, and this is the reason it was practiced among the royals. And during those days, it was a kind of a forbidden, kind of a secretive practice, which was, as I said, only kept to the royal families. They didn't want this information to be leaked out to the normal public, because they didn't want people, women especially, to be owning up to their power in this way. But they certainly wanted that to be happening in the royal families. So anytime they found out that this message was leaked outside of the royal family, that those people were killed. So it was that intense, and they were preserving this information to very extent. And well, not anymore. It's been thousands and thousands of years now, and those of us who have been practicing spirituality, especially into the realms of divine feminine, and exploring the Eastern medicine, Eastern sacred medicine, then this practice is now becoming more and more popular. And I see a lot of myth around it floating on the websites and online and internet as well, which to a lot of extent is just not true, but there is also a lot of truth behind simple practice. So the Jade-Egg was considered, the Jade-Egg practice was considered to something that would increase your longevity, your youthfulness, and your overall health in the body itself. And in the Taoist practice, the sexual organs are considered as central, vital for the enhancement, for the awakening and consciousness of the mind, body, and spirit overall. So for them, the life force, according to their wisdom, the life force lies in the sexual organs, especially for us women. And like, if you have heard the concept of acupuncture or reflexology, then you know that in the body there are certain meridians and certain points that when you press, it activates your chi, your life force in different areas of your life, which is exactly the same for the yoni. And that's what not many people are aware of, and that's what these ancient Taoists were aware of, is that inside your yoni, inside your vaginal canal, there are pressure points. There are points that relate to your heart, the kidneys, the lungs, the liver, and all other points. So just like in reflexology, when you put pressure on the feet to different points, and it activates those meridians and energy centers in those parts of the body, the same thing happens inside of the vagina. Should we activate and put pressure points inside of that? Which is why the Jade-Egg was used in this practice, to activate those points inside of our yoni. And all of this was coming as as I would say, like a gift for us women, because the positive effect of this was also orgasms, like extreme pleasures, to this extent that a normal intercourse and sex will never get you to these levels of orgasms that after the use of Jade-Egg would help you to. So all of this, so you might think that how amazing it is to be a woman, first of all. You get to cure a lot of things in your body. You get to vitalize your body just through pleasure. How amazing it is, and how disconnected we women are as well from our pleasure. So that's basically where this concept originated, pretty much. And what happens is also, if you see studies, that as women, when we age, the amount of hormones in our body decreases. So when we continue to use the Jade-Egg and continue activating those points, those muscles inside of our vagina, inside of our yoni, then it helps in balancing our hormones as well. So which is really crucial. And once again, as we are aging, this helps us to cultivate a good sexual health, and which in turn increases our life force, which in turn adds up to our spiritual growth, awareness, to our mind, body, and spirit. So it's a very beautiful gift. So I want to share also what exactly it changed in my life, and how did I go about it. So I've been using the Jade-Egg for, I would say, a couple of years only now, but the effects have been revolutionary for me, because if I look back at where I began from several years ago, I held a lot of sexual trauma and pain in my body. There was time where that I was living a very stressful life. I was burnt out nonstop, and I couldn't enjoy my body. I had a love-hate relationship with my body. I couldn't enjoy my body very much. And I feel a bit vulnerable sharing this, because I haven't shared it with a lot of you, that there came a point where, and this was several years ago, there came a point where my boyfriend at the time, we were having sex, but sex was just like a drunk act for me. Many times I would not be present in my body, and several times I would not even remember the experience next morning. So it was just like, you get drunk, you have sex, you sleep, and life goes on and things. So, and there was one point where my boyfriend at the time, he told me that he's not interested in having sex with me anymore. And that kind of shattered me. It kind of hit my ego so hard. It kind of it kind of killed me inside, because I couldn't understand why. Why is he saying that? Am I not doing it right? Is he not orgasming himself, or is he not enjoying the act? Doesn't he love me anymore? I started, picking up petty fights with him and arguments. I stopped trusting in him, even though, he wasn't doing anything wrong. And when sometimes men are like, they say something in a moment and they forget it, and they don't mean it for a lifetime, but we women just hold it so hard and keep it forever, and just, create resentment and all those emotional drama around it. So that was me doing exactly that. And all because of all of this, my relationship became very stagnant. And even then, every time after that, when he wanted to have sex with me, I would not feel good about it anymore, because I would think that he's just faking it, or things like that. I was just creating a lot of stories for myself, and it was turning ugly and ugly. We were falling apart in our relationship, and I had developed really deep sense of hurt, and I was a people pleaser, so I couldn't understand what I did wrong to make him feel that way. Hey Keith, lovely to see you here. So I couldn't understand what I had done wrong to make him feel this way, and so I started beating myself down, and I lost my confidence and self-esteem, and we started arguing, and the relationship kind of became stagnant. So we, of course, we were not having sex as much as before, and not that because it was just bad. So what happened was that when I started discovering and learning things about the feminine, I took on my own journey, and when I found this practice, it helped me release a lot of things. For the first initial few times when I did the Jade-Egg practice, I was just crying. I cried my heart out. I cried my yoni out, I should say that. And a lot of things had shifted since then. I'm now married to the same person. It's been 5 years. We having a very good relationship, helping each other grow spiritually. But all of that couldn't have happened if I wouldn't have taken ownership of what is going on inside of me in my life. If I wouldn't have taken ownership of trying to build this sacred connection with my divine body and understanding what it is. A lot of us don't even know about these pressure points that I'm talking about that exists inside of our body. When I shared about the yoni and the throat connection yesterday, it stirred so much of drama on my Facebook page. Oh my God, that's another story. Anyway, so for me, what changed was I understood what it means to have a woman's body and all those sensations, and it helped me to create a life where I always seek for more of sensuality and pleasure, not forgetting my masculinity, but it comes in an easier way for me. It's not that I'm always in this Zen state, not always. I'm also human, but I come back to it really quick, sometimes in a couple of days after crying, but I know where to come back to. I know that source is inside of me. So it helped me to develop a lot of self-love and body connection and knowing my female body, to be honest. A lot of us don't even know that the vagina is not the entire part there. It's just the whole is the vagina, because the second part is the vulva, like when you call out these names, a lot of us don't even know what is pelvic floor, what is vulva, what is vagina, what is labia, and things like that. We don't even know our female bodies. Where are our ovaries? Things like that. So it helped me to pretty much cultivate this connection with my female body and learn to use it so that I can start enjoying my body, living my life. And when I started doing all of this work, believe me, my relationships changed, my life changed, and a lot of things began to show up in my life like how I had envisioned. And it's still continuing to grow. So for me, that's what happened. Now, why jade? Now, I have been seeing about jade eggs online, and I can see a lot of different variety and things like that. Different colors, different crystals, but there is a specific reason why this process was called Jade-Egg practice, because the ancient Chinese used a crystal that is called jade, the jade crystal. And the reason was that because they considered the jade stone as the stone of heaven, because it had mystical properties of healing and wisdom that when we put in contact with our body, it begins its healing just by that. It begins and it has the property to absorb our body's temperature right away. So the moment we hold it, it just warms up. And that is really important because this is something that we're putting inside of our yoni. And with many other crystals, you may not feel it becoming warm as much. I'm going to come back to it. So it was called Stone of Heaven by the ancient Chinese for these reasons, because just by even holding the jade stone can create a lot of healing in our bodies. It was that amplified and revered, and this is the reason this was used in particular. Another reason is that Jade-Egg is very strong in composition, so it's not going to break. So yeah, wow, it is, Nadia. All of this information, to be honest, is really fascinating. And when I started finding more and more about it, I was really shocked that why the hell women don't know these things. And, why am I alive without knowing all these things? So, so the Jade-Egg has a very strong composition. And when it, let's say when you throw it from this height, on the floor, it would not break. But whereas different crystals have a lesser kind of strength as compared to the jade egg, and this is why it's really important to use the jade egg. Now there are, I think, the rose quartz yoni eggs. That's also really good to use. There are amethyst as well, and few other different quartz. And you have to be really careful because to begin with, it is only advisable to start using the jade egg, the jade crystal. And once you get kind of an experienced person using the jade egg, the jade crystal, then you can shift on to the rose quartz. And I would like to say these two are the ones that you can stick around with, not the other crystals, because you're putting something important in your inside your body, and you need to make sure that it is what it is made of and what its compositions are and things like that, and how it affects your body. With rose quartz, it's not really good to begin with rose quartz uni eggs, because rose quartz are crystals that amplify the feelings. So that's why, you know, when you want to open your heart, you use the rose quartz, because this in your heart, the source, the main source is love. You know, love is the part of your heart. It cannot be removed. We all have it, should we show or not. And when we use that crystal for our heart, then it amplifies the love. And this is why we use the rose quartz crystals. But when we use the rose quartz yoni egg inside of our vagina, it does exactly the same thing. It amplifies. So if you are a person who's just beginning, and if you have installed a lot of pain or trauma or guilt or anger, resentment, and things like that that you haven't worked before on, it's going to just amplify all of that. And that's what not you want. It's going to take you on a total different journey, and you don't want that. And which is the reason it's always advisable to start with the jade crystal, because that's got the healing properties. Hey, Michaela, lovely to see you here. So jade has got these healing properties, and once you start working on it, and once you are activated in your yoni and you feel good about it after you feel quite experienced, then you can practice with the rose quartz as well. But I would not suggest starting with the rose quartz just because of these reasons that I mentioned. Now, let me talk about, hey, Michaela, we're talking about the jade egg and why we should use jade egg, jade crystal instead of any other stones to start with. Now, I want to also share with you some of the benefits in particular. Some of the benefits to using this jade egg practice. First of all, it increases our sexual health. That's really important, something that we do not give a lot of attention to. But as I say, that as we age, these things kind of deplete in our body as women. So using this practice obviously activates all those muscles to keep our pelvic floor alive, pelvic floor muscles alive. Besides that, it gives us an experience of orgasm. And you may think, so what? But the truth is, when you look at statistics around the world, almost 40% of women have never orgasmed in their life, and many of them fake their orgasms. And that's really, it's sad, you know, it's sad. Like, why? Because we just don't know what the feeling is. And if you ask me like, oh, or if you tell me like, oh no, but I like my sex, I orgasm, how do I know if I'm orgasming or not? And one of the easy difference um, is to gauge yourself, you know, when you orgasm after sex, that's when you are in heightened condition, and that feeling lasts for a really long time. I would say between half an hour to 1 hour. So you are in that state, in this high state, you know, like you can have sex and have orgasm and then probably just go and, you know, go for a run. You know, that's when you know that you have had an orgasm. But what happens usually is that when we have sex, we usually climax, we don't orgasm. And when you just climax and don't orgasm, that means, you know, you reach this heightened state and then you go down literally in few minutes. But this doesn't happen when you orgasm. so that you remain in that heightened state for quite a bit of time, and you can really feel that energy in you. You can really feel something has shifted inside of you, you know. So that's what an experience of orgasm is. Yeah. Let me see who else is joining. Lovely to see you here, Dinah. So also another one of the benefits of using the Jade-Egg practice is the lubrication in your yoni. So the more you practice the lubrication, the yoni begins to self-lubricate itself, and which is really important because dry vagina is a playground for a lot of infection, STDs, and fibroids, and all of these kind of things. So when your yoni is able to self lubricate and create its own juices on regular intervals, that's a sign of a healthy yoni, not a sign of a desperate yoni. I should tell you. So again, that can be achievable by using the Jade-Egg practice. Also, the more you do the Jade-Egg practice, it helps you to balance your hormones in your body. As I said, that when we age as women, our hormones decrease, and the more you practice the Jade-Egg, it activates, as I said, there's the reflexology thing. It activates all those muscles that relates to your heart, your liver, your lung, your kidneys, and all of the other pressure points, and it brings back hormonal balance, which is also a very big issue among us women living a stressed out life, that our hormones are like all over the place. I am feeling very thirsty. And it does it because the more you practice the Jade-Egg, it activates the circulation of ovaries in your pelvic floor. And more of your ovaries circulate fluidly in your pelvic floor, your hormones get into alignment. So this is, again, one of the beauties of the magic that the yoni holds inside of you. Also, Jade-Egg helps us to release a lot of pelvic floor tensions. As women, we store a lot of anger, resentment, sexual trauma, past relationship hurt, and all of these things inside of our yoni. So the more we practice, the more we are able to release that tension from the yoni. And you may be hearing a lot of cases about the cancer and fibroids, endometriosis, and yeast infections, pain, and all of that thing. All of these things can be taken care of when we indulge in this Jade-Egg practice, because, as I said, the more we activate those pressure points using this crystal in our yoni, the more we are able to bring our hormones into balance and create this vitality. Again, thousands of years ago, people knew it and they were doing it. We've just lost that connection, and we are trusting the pharmaceuticals to cure us of all of these things. But our body, the female body, is made in such a beautiful, magical way that it has the solution for all of this. And one of the other things as well, the more you practice Jade-Egg, it helps you to release menstrual cramps as well. So when you begin to menstruate, you have your moon time, and you have been doing consistent practice, then that reduces your pain, the cramps, as well as many times your PMS, all your mood swings and emotional hunger and all of that, So this is vitally important. Even if you are single and not in a relationship and you think that, all right, I don't want to practice this because I don't care about pleasure and orgasm and things like that. I know you do care about your health, and you can achieve. I know you care about your beauty, your life, your longevity, your vitality, and you can achieve all of that using the Jade-Egg. So what exactly is this practice? I think I'm very nervous talking about this topic because what has been happening in the last couple of days, so I need to be drinking a lot of water. Great info. Diana says, yes, it is amazing. It's amazing. The more you find out, the more you're fascinated that everything you need to experience in this life is already inside of you. So yes, So what is this Jade-Egg practice? It is basically a meditative state. It is about entering into this meditative state. And it takes on an average of 10 to 15 minutes, pretty much. 10 to 15 minutes of this practice when you do, let's say, 2 to 3 times a week is just enough, and that's what it takes pretty much. 2 to 3 times a week. You don't have to be doing it every day, but if you're doing it every day, it's still fine. Nothing goes wrong. The only thing is don't do it during menstruation, because during that time your yoni really needs to rest and shed out those ovary lining. So do not disturb her when she is, doing this, going through this phase. So that's the only time I will advise you not to use jade eggs. But other times, 2 to 3 times a week is perfect. Another thing is that, as I was telling you, Jade-Egg, you can see a lot of them floating on the websites, online, in Amazon. One thing to make sure is that you buy from a reliable source. You buy from a reliable certified source. You can see a lot of fake stuff going on as well. So I would say ask for recommendations. Ask for people who are into this work, or who are already practicing it and seeing the benefits already. Ask them to recommend you if you're able to find difficulty in finding a source for yourself, because it's really important to have the not an adulterated version of a yoni egg, especially if it's a jade one. I think there are only 2 or 3 mines in the world that produces these jade stones. So you have to be really careful of the fake products that are floating around. And if you're interested, I can connect you through some of the sources that I know in the States and even in the UK. So you can then use the recommendation. But yes, it's highly important that you buy from the right source. And when you buy it, it's also good if you buy a drilled one, because if you are beginning this practice, that means that you're going to be using a string. And string is useful to push it in and pull it out in the beginning. So because you are still learning, it's important to use the string, and so it is important to have a drilled one so you can put in the string. Once you become quite used to and practice it really well, then you can stop putting the string. But I still like using the string, because I just like it. I like it that way. I don't use it to pull it out. I am able to pull it out without using the string, but I still like to use the string to put it in for some reason. So, oh yeah, I should just show. Thank you, Nadia. Thank you, sisters, for all your hearts and for being here and holding the space for me to share this information. I have received, I would say, 4 thread messages in the last 24 hours while talking about this topic. So it just feels a bit emotional. Anyways, let me get back. So this is my yoni egg, if you can see, and I got it from a Canadian miner, and yeah, I don't know if I can show you. It's drilled, so if you see, that's the drill. So it is drilled, and it's important to have it drilled. When you get the drilled one, make sure you also buy the right string. What usually you do is you use a dental floss. And what I would ask you to avoid is using the normal dental floss that is available in the market that has fluoride, first of all. Fluoride is extremely harmful for your body. You've got to stop using fluoride. If you're using it in your toothpaste, get over it. Stop using fluoride in your toothpaste, because that's not going to help you uncover your intuition. It just blocks your intuition and your connection to the divine. Go online and read about fluorides and its harmful effects, and you will be amazed. So you don't want a dental floss that has fluoride to be going inside of your vagina. So be careful with that. And also be very careful not to buy dental floss that is flavored. Usually you would find mint flavored. which is quite good if you are using it for your teeth, but not for your vagina. You don't want all those mint sensations going on in there. So be careful with that. I've had one sister, she didn't notice what she was buying and she was on fire after using that. So, so yeah, I have not been using fluoride in my toothpaste for last 8 years now. And that's something, again, something very big topic to be discussed sometime later, or you can do your own research, but definitely it's not going in my yoni. So I have something that is a natural silk floss. Where's the camera? It's a natural silk dental floss. And I think you can buy it in Amazon as well. It's exactly the same as other dental floss, but it's made of natural silk and it doesn't have any chemicals in it. So you can then safely put it in. So what you do is that once you get it, once you get the jade egg, it is important that you sterilize it because you don't know how many hands have touched it and wherever it has been floating around before it got to you. So once you get it, then you basically put it in a boiling water in the pot for 10 minutes so that it sterilizes itself. Once it's sterilized, then you can put it back in the pouch. Usually when you buy it from a certified seller, then you get it in a pouch like this. And then put it back in the pouch so it's nice and clean and ready to use for the next time. So at this point, I'm really curious to ask how many of you actually own jade egg or a yoni egg? While I drink a water. If you don't own it, let me know if you're finding this useful, finding this information useful, or let me know if you're having any questions. Feel free to comment. I'm really looking forward to take your questions and answer your questions as well. I'm gonna give a few seconds here. So yeah, if you have any questions around this topic or something that is bothering you, something that you really like to ask somebody about this topic, I'm here for you. Your case is finding it useful. That's great. All right. So how do you begin with it? Michaela says, I have a yoni egg and have a question. Okay, great. Go ahead for the question, Michaela. And I would really encourage you to ask questions because I have coconut oil on my hair, so I'm becoming a bit distracted looking at myself. So yeah. What's your question, Michaela? Go ahead. So how do you begin with this? One of the ways, one of the ways that you can begin the yoni egg, I know a lot of women that I know of, they buy the yoni egg and then they keep it with them and they are really scared to start using it, which is really fine, which is absolutely perfect because this is what I also suggest you to do. I suggest you that when you buy a yoni egg, first of all, buy it from a reliable source. Secondly, when you buy it, I would really invite you to create a relationship with your yoni egg first before starting to use it. So, for example, what I recommend the women that I work with is buy it and hold it at least a couple of times a day and say your intentions to it. Why did you buy it? What was your intention? What do you want out of it? What builds this relationship, like this beautiful friend of yours that you have bought, and you both are going to experience your yoni for the first time in a different way. So it's a very beautiful thing that you have this connection with this beautiful rock. So I usually sleep with it many times before using it so that I can infuse my intention, I can speak to it, I can just charge it with my intentions pretty much. So that's one of the really good things about first building the relationship. And another thing that I know a lot of women have said that they don't know when to get started. This is not the thing that you can ask your yoni egg. Is it a yes or is it a no? Check in with your yoni egg. And when it's a no, respect that no. That's fine because, again, how do you know it's a no? Yeah, but the more you connect to your to your feminine wisdom, do some womb breathing, connect it with your heart, and then ask this question, are you ready? Should I go ahead with this process, with ritual? If you don't get a yes, it's all right. That means you still need to give it more time to feel, to put your trust into this stone. And if you get a no, just respect it. We as women, we have been violated several times by without seeking permission to be entered inside of us. Hardly our partners ever asked, even during sex. Um, if you're not having a conscious act of sex, then they don't even ask that if I'm ready to be penetrated or something or like that. When you go to doctors, they don't even ask the permission to put the things inside of you. So, our yoni have been violated several times unconsciously. So there's a broken boundary there. So I don't want you to add to it. So it's really important that you build the relationship with your egg and keep asking for a yes or a no. And when you feel that it is a yes, that's the time that, okay, time for you to create a ritual night or evening so that you can experience this. All right, I'm going to read some questions here. Yaki says, if you're single but you're calling love, does it help with manifesting that is love? Does it help with manifesting that, or is this only specifically for you? It does, Yaki, yes. The Jade-Egg practice was also can be used for something that is called sex magic. And sex magic is to attract whatever you want to manifest. And it is through this process, yes, you can attract partners, you can manifest partners and love in your life. And the more you become aware of your sexual pleasures and in a conscious way, it will become easier for you to pull in that vibration of a conscious partnership as well. So yes, it does help you to attract. And there is a whole different process of sex magic. Probably I will talk about it one day on how you can use the yoni to create, to manifest as well. This is something I will be doing in the Open to Receive retreat weekend. So definitely, yes, that is possible. Nadia says, I don't have a yoni egg, but I'm attracted to these topics. The more I healed my feminine self, I spent a wonderful time with you. Thank you. Thanks, Nadia. Michaela, when I was going to buy, it told me I should buy rhodonite. Who told you? Because it's working in relationship and fear. But now I'm not sure to continue with the stone or to buy jade. How do you see it all? So as I said, if you missed the beginning, Michaela, Jade-Egg is the most safest stone to begin the process with. If you have not used it, I would not suggest you, if you have never done a yoni egg process, then I would never ask you to go for any other crystal than Jade-Egg. Jade-Egg is the most subtle as well. It absorbs your energy, and it is, I was speaking in the beginning, it's called the stone to heaven in a way because it has those mystical properties to heal and reveal its wisdom in a subtle way. A lot of stones do not have the similar composition, and it may show up in different areas of your life in different ways after using this. So I would never recommend anybody to start the Jade-Egg practice or yoni egg practice with any other egg except the Jade-Egg. It is the safest egg to use. So once you become experienced and the releasing relationship fear and trauma, you can do all of that. Jade-Egg helps you to do that anyway. So I wouldn't risk it. I don't know about rhodonite, but I have worked with a lot of mystics and healers, and all of the people that I know, I would not recommend rhodonite. I can be 100% sure of that. So if you really feel called to it, then tune into it really. If you really feel called to it, try it for yourself. I don't tell you that you have to follow what I say, but I will never recommend my clients to start with anything else. Also, it's very important for you to feel safe while doing this process. And this is why I like to do it in person very much, because the space has to be safe. And if you're already having this emotions of fear and some kind of relationship trauma, I don't know about rhodonite, how it can help you. It might help you by using that crystal externally. I will not put it in a yoni. Maybe if you know somebody who has used it and can vouch for it, maybe listen to them, but not. I'm being so strict on it because I'm seeing a lot of nonsense online. It is not true. Do not fall for it. No other stone except Jade-Egg should be started for initiation. And that's the end of story. Nadia says, I'm drawn to black obsidian crystal. Black obsidian crystal is also really nice. Again, all of the crystals are really nice, but you have to understand why it is being used inside of your yoni. So black obsidian is also healing. It takes you to a longer journey of your darkness because of its dark properties. Again, you can have different varieties and crystals um, of the yoni eggs to play with once you have gone through an initiation process. But when you're going through an initiation process, I would I would recommend you not to get carried away by the fancy things that you see around, but stick to the traditional way, because it's really important for your yoni to feel safe to start this process. And also another thing is that you may feel that you use it once or twice and you're done. It's not like that. It's a very consistent practice that you have to be doing regularly, just like with any other spiritual practice, to see its effect. So as I said, once you start doing it with the Jade-Egg, this practice, then you can switch to other stones to see, and you can gauge the difference for yourself. But yes, be really careful. It really breaks my heart to see a lot of women also have reverse effect. You can go into deep state of trauma. Some of the crystals activate those kind of things inside of you. You can go into deep state of trauma and depression as well. So I do not recommend all of those things to start with. Once you feel confident, then you can switch to. Now, how do you begin with this process? So once you, let's say once you get the yes, then you can create a ritual space for yourself. Hey, Mira is here. Lovely to see you. So you can create a ritual space for yourself. Let's say when you're beginning with, I would give you 1 hour. 1 hour is a lot. I usually give myself good half an hour, and it works. Hi, good afternoon. It works for me. But for the first time, I would suggest you to give yourself 1 hour, because you may take longer or not. So, and you're not disturbed. So make sure that you're not disturbed. You create a ritualistic space, light some candles, and, activate your senses, and put on some soft sensual music. And then you can begin with your yoni egg. You can use the yoni, the Jade-Egg, to make a heart-womb connection. I usually hold it in my hand because it's cold, and by holding it in the hand, I'm kind of warming it up. And I bring it close to my heart, another hand on my womb, and I just sometimes just dance with it, speaking my intentions to it. So I'm moving my body and I'm doing all of that, and then I put the string, and I still hold it in my hands. One of the other ways. Nadia is saying, I agree with being guided in a safe space. Yeah. And then the most important is that you need to lubricate your yoni, and that can easily happen in a natural state when you start the breast massage. So it's really important to be going into that state. Have some coconut oil and do some breast massage. Give yourself like good 10 minutes of breast massage, and the more you activate the tissues around your breast, then your yoni will begin to relax as well. And that's what you need to do. You need to relax your yoni. And when and this is exactly like, we're going to go through this exact procedure in my Open to Receive retreat weekend as well, where we will do this together. And it's going to be a really beautiful, safe space for all of us to explore this. And I think it's a gift when someone can hold space for you to go through this, because it has happened to me as well. I had done it in a high priestess training circle. I remember a couple of years ago, and it felt very vulnerable in the beginning. How do you go about it? But it was one of the best experiences. And there is something about, as Nadia is saying, being held in a safe space than doing it by yourself. And if you have an opportunity to do that, I would go for the safe space to be held. I am tired in my life doing things by myself, and I really long for this safe space to be held. And I will be creating that in my Spain retreat. So when you're doing it by yourself, this is what you have to pretty much do. And then you hold the tip of the stone, which is the other side of the drilled, which is like, so this is, if this is the drilled one, where's the drill? Hold on, where's my camera? So that's the drill. Ooh, you see, you can see it through it. So you gently put this side on your on the lips of your yoni, and there is a circular process that you go through on the tip of the yoni, and at that time it may feel cold because the stone is cold. But again, as I said, because of its healing properties, the moment this jade enters your body, it absorbs the temperature, the warmth of your yoni, like right away. Within split second, it absorbs it and it becomes that. So you don't feel any kind of discomfort anymore. And which is also really good, because that means that your yoni is healthy. You know, it is supposed to be feeling warm inside of you. That means a healthy yoni. So and then once you have place it on the tip of the lip, let's say, of your yoni, we do an exercise that's called sipping. And it's exactly like when you have a straw and you try to sip water. So you inhale and then you exhale. So we do exactly the same when the jade egg is on the lips of our yoni, and we do and we're doing a circular motion and we're doing a sipping process. So again, as I said, it is really nice when you're guided into this rather than you reading book, you know, or sometimes it's nice to just listen to the guided process to go through it as well. Looking at some comments here. One important thing is that you shouldn't push it in. Again, that will be a violation of your boundary. If you feel that it's not going in, because that's happened, many people that I have done the initiation for, it didn't go in right away, it's okay. That just means that you require more presence, more time to relax your yoni. It's so don't push it in, okay? So once it goes in, and then we do certain kind of pelvic floor muscle exercise, which are different from Kegel exercises, I must say. So, and we do some kind of hip circle and sensual movements for 10 to 15 minutes, and that's pretty much it. And after that, I like to do this in the evening, because then I like to sleep with it. And again, the ancient Taoists say that, you know, just sleeping with this yoni egg inside can begin to heal our depression and heal the trauma and all of that thing. So that itself in it's so powerful. What is Nadia saying? Do you recommend doing a healing, cleansing, sacred ritual before using an egg? What if a woman brings negative emotions with her? I do not recommend. I do not recommend doing a specific healing, cleansing, sacred ritual. Is not necessary. However, when we do it in circles, when we do it in women's circles, we are usually led to it. We are usually led to a lot of rituals and things like that to come to the stage where we can do the initiation. So the process looks like that. But when you're doing it on your own, I do not recommend that you really have to do something like this, because even if you bring negative emotions, it's fine, it's perfect. That's what you need to heal. So bring all of your emotions. And I must say that the first time when I did that, I had really great time. I really loved it, and I was really excited. And I was the only one, I think, in my circle of 16 women that I felt like this. All the other women, like few of them were not able to put it in. Few of them were just feeling angry or sadness and all of that. And it's important to bring those emotions out. And that's why I say that it's good to do this when you're held in a safe place, because emotions come out and it is for a reason. That's when the releasing happens. Now, when I did this practice many times after that in the home, I was crying my eyes off. I was crying loud. I was feeling pain. I was feeling not pain in the sense of physical pain, but heartache. You know, I was in a pleasurable state of mess, pretty much. So all of that was flowing out through me, but it was such a relief to leave, to take that out. So it is good that you do it in a safe space. But if you have negative emotions, it's all fine. The most important thing to gauge is if you feel ready for it or not. The moment you think that you feel ready for it, your yoni is ready for it, go for it. And there is no need to do any cleansing ritual or anything of that sort. Although, you know, you can make it as grand as possible or as simple as possible. But there is no need to go through cleansing ritual and kind of trying to deal your emotions before. The reason you're doing it because you're seeking this kind of sexual healing, the trauma and all of that. You know, you're seeking that, and Jade-Egg helps you to release all of that. So it's possible if you just come as you are. Okay. Mira, I'll definitely listen to the replay later. Yes, do, surely do, and next time join me on my circle. Yeah, Keys, you mentioned this practice is different from Kegel exercise. What's the difference? So, Kegel exercise, I know it's becoming very famous in the States, not as famous here, but with a Kegel exercise, pretty much it's about doing some kind of movements with your pelvic floor. But to be honest, if you have done a Kegel exercise or if you are beginning to do it for the first time, many of us don't even know how that muscles feel even to move. You know, when they say like, oh, breathe in through that muscle and breathe out and hold it up and hold it down. When we do not even know what those things are in there, it's really hard to do that exercise in itself. And you know, Kegel exercise is very different because it only concentrates on the outside, the muscles only. Whereas the Jade-Egg, as I said, it goes when the egg goes in, it activates all the acupressure points that are inside of our vaginal canal, which are related to the vitality of our heart, our lungs, our liver, our kidneys, and all of that. So that's a big difference, and there is a very there is a spiritual difference as well. This Jade-Egg is a spiritual practice. It's just not like an exercise, you know, because they say that you can do a Kegel exercise while driving a car. You cannot do a Jade-Egg while driving a car. It asks you to set a ritual space and, you know, and give this time and attention and care to your yoni for it to bring forth the awareness that it has for you. So it's a deeper process of connection. Just to name few, if that makes sense. Mira is asking, how do we choose a right stone? I covered that before. I must say, I'm coming close to an hour. I covered that before, Mira. If you're watching the replay, you can hear that again. I'll be really quick again. Which color? Yeah. So as I said, so if you are starting, it's really important that you start with the Jade-Egg. The Jade-Eggs are called the gateway to heaven, the stone to heaven in ancient Taoist thing. The reason because it has this mystical healing and wisdom properties. That once it's put inside or comes in contact with our body, it activates its self-healing system. And it's also very dense in its composition. That means it doesn't break, which is really important. Some of the other stones that are adulterated or mixed with few other textures may break, and you don't want anything to break inside of you. Or it may break even when it falls out, because yes, Jade-Egg can also fall out of your yoni, and it has happened to me too. I will come to it in a minute. But yeah, I have shared before why it is important to start with Jade-Egg only, and then once you feel comfortable, you can use different eggs, different crystals, because different crystals have different properties, and Jade-Egg has it creates a safe self-healing process inside of you the moment it goes inside of you. And rose quartz looks really beautiful and very tempting eggs to start using, but rose is used to amplify the emotion. This is why it's best to use rose quartz with heart, because it amplifies your heart's emotion, your love. But when you put it inside of your yoni, whatever you have stored in it gets amplified too, which you don't want to begin with. And you may have a totally different journey. So yes, watch the replay, and then if you have any questions, you can post here, and I will be coming back and I can answer it all up there. Okay, Keith has another question. Would you recommend removing the yoni egg before doing a vaginal steaming or leaving in during the steam? I recommend to remove it. It's just because when you're doing steaming, so it's just like sauna. Okay, so imagine when you go to a sauna, you want your skin to breathe, you want space, you wear less clothes, so you want that space and the breathing space pretty much. So when you're doing a steaming, it's best not to have the yoni egg because you don't want two different processes going on at the same time. Let's not overdo it, okay? So during menstruation or steaming, there is no need. Although you can have the yoni egg during sex. Some people like it that way. I don't, but that's possible. But I wouldn't recommend steaming and yoni egg at the same time. What was I saying? So how do you remove it? So I usually recommend to sleep with it, and in the morning, if you feel like, I usually remove it in the morning, or sometimes if I'm home that day and I'm not going outside, then I keep it on. But so in the morning, again, you can do a specific type of exercise to, again, that's also called sipping. So you sip in and out, and then you release through your muscles, and you can pull the string, and that falls out, and then you clean it and pack it back. That's what you do. One of the things to notice is that, as I said before to Mira, that yoni egg may fall out, and that is absolutely normal. Don't think that your yoni is dysfunctional because it's not holding it. Sometimes, your yoni just needs some space to identify what's going on, some time to relate to, okay, what changes are going on, what is this thing that I need to have inside of me, and things like that. So during those times, it may fall off, and there's nothing wrong with it. Just give it the time. But many times what happens is that yoni egg, when you're having it inside of you and everything is fine and it falls off, are usually situations where you encounter a disempowering moment, like a moment where your boundary is crossed, a moment where you feel a little bit of anger, or some kind of violation that happens in your psyche, or a disempowering person telling you something. You may feel like, oh my God, your yoni gets a bit, and it falls off. And I know a woman who was wearing it in her interview, a job interview, and it came out because she got really nervous. So I would suggest personally to keep it indoors when you begin with. When you're home, let's say in a weekend or something, just have it on. Sometimes I go to the supermarket with it, but many times I just take it out. It happened to me once. Mine has never fallen off, I should say, except once that I had it in me, and it was for more than 24 hours. I had forgotten even that I have a yoni egg inside me. Yes, that happens it happens. And I had a sip of drink. I think I had some kind of alcohol. And the moment I took the first sip, I just knew it's coming out. I could feel like, oh my God, it's coming out. And I had to run to the toilet in that hotel, and, and it came out. But it was my mistake, because I shouldn't have drank alcohol. You don't work with crystals when you're drinking alcohol. That's not a good thing. But I had forgotten, and this happened. And one of the good things is that when you start using this, especially when we are aging, it improves our sexual health, our vitality, our aging as well. And it tightens the muscles around our vagina as well. So when we are still with partner and we're having intercourse and things, your partner will begin to feel the difference as well. And this is really amazing, because you can, create a beautiful relationship just around your Jade-Egg and keep asking, like, how you're feeling, because you will activate different sorts of muscles that you can use during intercourse to give him the pleasure, some kind of pleasure or some kind of tweak, and he would be really surprised and he'll love you, really. But that's an additional thing to it. But yeah. So yes, Nadia, how you can test your boundaries with this practice? Yes, definitely you can. So I think that's all I had to share. I'm gonna hang around if you have more questions. I'd love to answer if you have more questions. Oh my God, it's over an hour. Great. I'd love to also, just because I'm excited, I would love you to share the Yoni post that is on my Facebook page to the friends, to the girlfriends, if they would like to or they would be interested in. I think since yesterday it has got around 45 shares or something, and it's creating a conversation around this topic, and I think it's really amazing that we talk about it. Yes, our yoni is so intelligent. It is so intelligent, and um, we can heal so many things, just not physical, but emotional things, just by this practice. And for me, I know that there was a moment where, for a couple of months, I didn't go near my Jade-Egg because I was just not in that mood, and things were not working out. So I just knew that, okay, I need to just go back to my Jade-Egg practice. And I had also practiced your case, what I told you, sex magic, where you can call in your desires during the process of doing the Jade-Egg. So yeah, that's also possible. And for those of you who will be joining me for the Open to Receiving Retreat weekend, we're going to be doing an initiation ceremony on the Friday evening. Yeah, on the next day, I think we're starting on the 8th, which is International Women's Day. Yeah, where we're doing the opening ceremony in a circle. And on the evening of 9th of March will be our Jade-Egg initiation, which will be again followed by 10th morning. We're going to end up doing a yoni yoga in the morning to wake up our feminine sensual selves. So it's going to be really amazing. And I'm still looking for 2 more other women to join us so we can complete the circle. So if you are called, I would love to have your presence. If you have any questions, I'm here for another minute just to see if any question pops in. If not, I will let you go. And I must say that this is such a practice, you know, as I said, that it can push boundaries for a lot of people. I know when I told this to my husband, he was like, what is wrong with this woman? I think you're going too far. So as I always say, do not share your desires to people who don't understand you. So again, if you really want this process and if you really want to do something like this, don't go and start telling your partner and this and that, you know, oh my God, da, 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 unless you feel really confident that you will be received in a way. But it may just stop you from even experimenting with this, you know. If you try it and go and tell your partner that, oh my God, I'm trying this and I'm feeling this and this is happening, that's a different story. So make sure who you're sharing your inspiration and your desires with. I always say that. Don't share with people who will put you down or crush your dreams. Michaela, can everyone see a replay of this if we share? No, not really, because everything that I do inside of the Exploring Femininity Sisterhood group is confidential just to the group. And I specifically do it this way because I want all of you to feel safe while you are sharing your questions and authenticity and vulnerability and all of that. So I'm afraid you won't be able to share it in public. However, if you have any women who are interested, who will benefit from this, please feel free to ask them if you want the information. Then if they say yes, then you can add them to the group and they can watch it. But I will not be happy to share this publicly. It's valuable information. It's for the sisters in this group. And for my safety too. As I said, that I have received 4 threats in the last 24 hours because I have offended few men who think that spirituality is not related to sexuality and things around that. Pretty much. All right, any other question? No question? Great. So sisters, if those of you who will be watching the replay or something, post your questions, and I'll see you around. Thank you so much for listening, joining, and taking part in this conversation. And yeah, if you're feeling called to go ahead with a yoni egg, go ahead. You will not regret it, that's for sure.